Well, my friends, today, just for a change of pace, just to mix things up a little, you understand? We thought we'd go way out into left field and talk about a subject you haven't seen much of here on Trifecta lately. Today, I'd like to talk about the debt ceiling. Okay, look, we promise that we will not ever talk about the debt ceiling again, at least until next time. I'm not so much interested in the details of the deal as I am in trying to get a big picture handle on what actually happened historically, and I'm very interested in the newest slander being leveled at the Tea Party, or should I say, at the band of domestic economic terrorists holding the country hostage to the wildly extremist position that it is in fact possible to run out of money. Let's not waste any time on niceties and bring in our fellow terror cell masterminds into the picture. Steve Green joins us from Denver, Colorado, and Scotty Ott is here from Allentown, Pennsylvania. Welcome, Al-Qaeda of the North. Gents, I know some Americans were worrying that trying to enforce the debt ceiling might in fact be bad for the economy. To those people who have an understandable doubt on this issue, let me put your mind to rest.
So instead of accepting some compromise that can get through the democratic process, what they're saying is, we'll blow up the country if you don't listen to us. We'll hold hostage the credit of the United States, the good standing of the United States, and we'll blow it up.
My favorite American, Fareed Zakaria, called the Tea Party fundamentally undemocratic and said that our policies will, quote, blow up the country, unquote. Steve, if Fareed Zakaria is opposed to something, you may take that as divine revelation that that is the course to take. What do you think about Fareed's fundamentally undemocratic take on elected representatives fulfilling their election oaths?
Yeah, blowing up and hostage taking. He's got the little terror thing. We've never said the word, but boy, you put the images in your head. The thing you have to remember is that Zakaria doesn't believe America has any good standing. Longtime Trifecta viewers remember that Fareed Zakaria is the man who came to this country to earn millions of dollars for telling us why this country sucks and to win the ear of the president, as you told us, for doing just that. He's pretty much living the American dream by telling people there's no such thing as the American dream. But let's look at this. Zakaria says blow the country up. Joe Biden called the Tea Party terrorists. Columnist of the New York Times, this was just today on Tuesday, said the Tea Party is waging jihad. So I want to turn this around. I've got a question for you. They played the Kooks card at the start, then the AstroTurf card, the race card. Now they're playing the Taliban card. What will they have left to play during the next crisis, during the next election? The pedophilia card? I have no idea where this is going next.
It's going to be epic. It's a sign of absolute panic, and it makes me happy. Scott, same dance step, different tune. Deep thinker Maria Cardona writes about the tyranny of the 87, that monolithic, overpowering, despotic, power-mad 20%, it's exactly 20% to the decimal, of one of the two houses of one of the three branches of government who have the radical, un-American, extremist, terrorist view that maybe $15,000 billion of a debt is enough for a while, and perhaps we shouldn't add any more to it. Scott, what do you think about that?
Well, all I would say, first off, is that if she doesn't like the tyranny of the 87, how is she going to like the tyranny of the 150 after next year's election and the next cycle after that? What is she going to think when suddenly the tyranny becomes the majority and then she suddenly has to recognize that, in fact, it's a democratic movement that we can't replace, thanks to our constitutional framers, everybody all at once, but over a cycle of several periods of 2 years, we can and we will.
To the barricades. Guys, let's take a look at a remarkable clip from CNN. Here's completely unbiased CNN reporter Don Lemon talking to Rand Paul about debt negotiations.
The public is really frustrated right now, and they don't know what's going on. They don't understand why we haven't come to some sort of consensus, or you guys haven't come to some sort of consensus, and they want some answers. You understand that. Are you feeling that in Washington right now?
Well, you know, we've been continuing to offer compromises. About 30 minutes ago, I was on the floor and I offered to vote for the Reid bill. So while many in the media,
but hang on 1 second again.
Well, you're in the middle of my answer.
I know, but I'm asking you to answer the question. I don't want talking points. With all due respect, I'm asking you: do you feel the public sentiment in Washington?
This isn't a talking point. I'm trying to tell you what we did 30 minutes ago on the floor.
I'm not asking you what you did, sir. With all due respect, I'm asking you if you feel how the public feels in Washington. You don't have to tell me what you did, but are you feeling, do you understand how people feel about this?
Frampton comes alive, ladies and gentlemen. Do you feel like I do? Now, Steve, remember that faux news is horribly biased, while reasonable outlets like CNN only report the facts without comment. What do you think of this remarkable display?
Well, first of all, vocoder jokes never get old. I want to say that up front. Also, I hate you for making me watch that clip. But that refrain, how do you feel? How do you feel? Bill, you like to joke about liberals. They ask, sure, it works in practice, but does it work in theory? There's a corollary to that, and it's not the results, it's your intentions. It's what you meant to do. It's how you feel about it.
Liberalism in a nutshell.
Obama said the stimulus, that's right. Obama said stimulus would leave unemployment no higher than 8%. Oops. Pelosi said Obamacare would create 400,000 jobs almost instantly. I think that's an exact quote. Oops on that one, too. But you know what? They felt like those things would happen, so the press doesn't call them on it. But look at Medicare Part D. Now, I think it's a bad program, but it's come in under budget, so where are all the headlines praising George Bush for expanding the welfare state on the cheap? But you know what? He's a mean Republican. He doesn't feel things.
I wonder how Obama feels now. Scott, I really want to hear what you have to say about this lemon thing again. What does this article, this interview rather, say about the state of American journalism? Indeed, what does it say about the state of American reason?
Well, it's one of the most pathetic displays of so-called journalism that I've seen in a long time. First of all, Lemon started off the interview by saying, I don't want you to give me talking points. And so he set the parameters of the debate, which will be, as a guest on CNN, you will have up to 13 seconds at a crack to speak, but I don't want you to have boiled down your thoughts into any sort of digestible thing. I want you to ramble for a while, then I want to cut you off and throw some other allegation at you. It was one of the worst displays I've ever seen. He continually interrupted Rand Paul, and then this whole business of how do you feel? Rand Paul is saying, look, I don't want you to evaluate my motivations or anything. I know you can't see inside a man's head. Let me tell you what I actually did just now on the Senate floor. And Lemon said, we're not interested in your actual accomplishments. What we want to hear about is your feelings and whether they're in sync with America's feelings. They're not. You're a loser, you Tea Party hobbit.
Yeah, CNN wanted a brand new, charismatic, good-looking anchor, and they got a lemon. Skies, let's take a look at the salient points here. The Democrats are the party of candy. If the candies run out, where do they go? Steve, have the presents indeed run out of Santa's bag, as you so memorably wrote earlier today?
Yeah, well, that's right. We're broke. There are no new initiatives coming out of this White House, and that's even if Obama wins a second term, God forbid. The only thing he can do now is to fight a rearguard action against the Tea Party, to keep the things he did to the country in his first 2 years, Obamacare, Wall Street, the EPA expansion, the union giveaways. He's got to fight a rearguard action to keep those things. This is going to be a scorched earth fight that's going to make the Russian retreat in 1941 look tame. The Democrats are going to torch the place before they'll let any of their power get taken away from them. I don't know where it's going or which side is going to win, but I do know it's going to be very, very ugly.
I think it was Grant who said when he was pulling out, they were going to slaughter him as he retreated from the South. It was going to be like Napoleon retreating from Moscow, and Grant said, who will furnish the snow for such a retreat? I would have that same comment for Mr. Obama. Steve Green can be read at vodkapundit.com, so go read him. Well, wait, we'll be right here. Scott, the democratic process has been held hostage by economic terrorists. Thoughts?
Well, you know, if these are terrorists, let's have more of them. In fact, finally we've got some people who seem to be making sense. I mean, if you look at this overall so-called debt deal that we've made, the only people who got what they wanted were the politicians. The right, or the Republicans, got no tax increase, theoretically, at least until January 1st, 2013. President Obama got no debate until after the election. The Democrats got no substantial cuts to any of their social programs, and we got stuck with a bill, ever-increasing spending, no limits to the debt ceiling. In reality, it keeps going up. Don't let them fool you.
Scott Ott can be read at scottott.org, ladies and gentlemen. Well, the Tea Party was racist, then it was stupid, then it was elitist, then it was violent, then it was dying, then it was a terrorist organization, and the best is yet to come, because what we're seeing here is not the death of the Tea Party or of fiscal conservatism as previously advertised, but rather a worldwide awakening from the medically induced coma known as welfare state socialism. Margaret Thatcher famously said that the problem with socialism is that you eventually run out of other people's money. Well, we're at eventually. Likewise, there's a great moment in the beginning of Saturday Night Fever when Tony is working at the store and he says to his boss, screw the future. He doesn't actually say screw, but you get the idea. To which his boss replies, no, Tony, you don't screw the future screws you. Well, my friends, welcome to the future. Democrats like to complain that the debt ceiling has been raised, several thousand times, and that no one complained before. Last time they tried to raise the debt ceiling, there was a lot of fuss. This time, it nearly ripped the dome off of the Congress. Next time, it's going to be harder still. That is an enormous win for you economic, un-American, terrorist extremists who know that the big state addiction to out-of-control spending has finally hit bottom, under a bridge with a needle in its arm. Elections have consequences, and if this despotic, tyrannical, hostage-taking terrorist Tea Party can do this with 20% of the House, just wait and see how things are going to look if we add another 20% every 2 years until there's a majority of adults in Congress once again. For the entire Trifecta team, I'm Bill Woodall.